Did you miss me? Hello, strangers and friends, and welcome back to a long overdue episode 15 of Sometimes I Make Things, a crafty show mostly about knitting, but we do venture into some other fiber crafts as well. It's been a strange summer. It was early spring when I made episode 14, which I can link above if you haven't watched it. And yeah, I was just, this summer, I don't know about you, but it was a bit of a weird summer for me. Just felt tired all the time, kept busy, and I kept wanting to make and do a follow-up video and talk about what I've been working on. I just didn't have it in me. So here we are in mid-August, and I don't have a lot of new stuff, like new finished things to show for all that time, but I do have a lot of things that I have been working on, and I do have some exciting plans for the fall. And funnily enough, I'm going to be going back to school in the fall for my second year of a 2-year program, which is really exciting. But I'm not going to be continuing my job that I've had over the summer into the fall, and I just have this feeling of, oh, I'm going to have so much more time to do things now. So I've got some fun things planned for the fall, but those might end up being foolish of me, considering it's going to be semester 3 out of 4. I'm probably going to be pretty busy, but anyway. You're here to catch up on what I've been working on and to hang out. I hope you have a good project with you to hang out, or folding laundry, whatever works. Today, it's a little cool outside, so I have a sweater on that I did not make, but I do have some finished objects to show. The first of which being my Helix Halter. I did this as a test knit for Jessie Mae in, I guess it was April or May. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. This is actually the first time I'm properly wearing it. It's something where I like the top a lot, but I'm not really sure how it fits into my particular wardrobe and style. So I keep thinking of ideas of how to wear it, but then they never come to fruition. So wins and losses. Also, today I am wearing my relatively newly finished yellow Lion brand socks. These took me 16 months to finish. I'm not very proud of that. They're pretty much just a vanilla sock, but they have a 6-stitch cable running down the length of the foot. I mirrored them so the cable's on the outside of the left and the right foot, so they are I guess, left sock, right sock. I only ever wear them on that particular foot. They're not interchangeable in that way. I didn't do anatomical toes, which I might rip out and redo at some point because I kind of fudged the toes a little bit. I just wanted to be done this project. I really kind of just fudged the toes at the end. I think I got down to 18 stitches and just sealed it, just grafted it, we're done. Because yeah, I think they're great socks and I was really excited to wear them, but I was just so done with knitting them at that point. I was tired of them. So yeah, a little impatience in the end there might be my downfall in the long run. But I see myself wearing these socks a lot. They are a little loose. I made them 72 stitches instead of 64, and I think I just need to start sticking to 64. I've made a couple 72 stitch socks. Some of them fit great, and then a lot of them I'm just a little about, so I think 64 might just be my number. Yeah, so I might redo the toes. That's the long story short of that part. But overall, I'm glad to have them, and I am not afraid of wearing holes into these socks, just because it was a budget-friendly yarn. I think it was $10 for the ball, and yeah, I am willing to put the effort into darning them in the future, but I was not willing to put the effort into spending any more time on them than I had to. Just gotta get them off the needles. So yeah, that's what I have finished in the 5 months since I last filmed a video. I have done some other projects. I got some crochet in there. I got some cross stitch in there that I've learned to do as well. which I might see if I can pop some photos in of that, because a lot of those were gifts. Well, yeah, I guess everything other than this that I've made has been gifts. So I'm really bad for making something and then being really excited just to give it to the person and not taking any proper finished photos. So I'll see if I can wedge those in there. But yeah, that's my finished object update. I do have some very fun works in progress to share in the whip section, so let's get into it. For my works in progress, I think I'm going to go through them in order of most active to least active. So the definitely will finish to the maybe never finish. I mean, hopefully not, but we will see. So starting out in my very business work appropriate knitting goddess bag, I have the Floret socks. This is by Hanks and Needles, Makenzie Alvarez. I am in a knit night group with her, and these are awesome. So as I mentioned earlier, the last pair of socks that I was knitting took me 16 months to knit. So I was in my head thinking I wanted to do a very simple, very basic sock pattern, because I was like, okay, I'll be able to finish like just an all stockinette sock so fast. In comparison, just to get my sock mojo up. And I put a poll on my Instagram stories about, hey, what sock? I had a couple options. What should I do next? And this combination of BFL, Pepper's Mint by Dyed by Dells, and the Floret socks won by a landslide. And I was like, oh no, like this sock looks so complicated. It's going to take me forever to do. And I have just been whipping through it. When I have time, I'll try to get a row or two in, but it's just the best combination of potato chip knitting, where the back is stockinette, so it's like, okay, I can whip through this, and then for the first like 30 rows, I had to pay attention and like follow the instructions to the word, but it's written out very clearly, and there's also a schematic as well, so it wasn't hard. I just had to focus. But I was so into it that it was flying along, and it was fun. And now I'm in the repeat section here, and this is actually, I am shook by how, like, I don't want to say it's simple, because obviously a lot of care and planning went into designing it, but as a knitting experience, I was like, all this? Just from that? Like, faux cables? I am shook by. So I'm really liking it. So currently, actually, I lied, I'm in this slip stitch heel section, which I love a slip stitch heel. It's the only heel I really want to do, because I just think it looks so nice, and it's fun to knit, it's simple. So yeah, these have been, got my magic loop all over the place here. These have been great. I am so happy that I started these socks, and I do not think it'll take me 16 months. I do not think it'll take me 8 months. You know, I dare not say 2-3 months, because knowing me, I walk away from projects. But I think I'm going to definitely have these done before the end of the year, and I'm excited to wear them. And yeah, just thank you, Makenzie, for writing such a fun pattern, because I feel like it really gave me my sock knitting mojo back, and I'm excited about sock knitting again, as opposed to me just being angry about my otherwise plain 6-stitch cable socks that were driving me off the wall. These ones have been a real treat, and I am very happy that I'm making them. The second whip that I have to share with you today is another one that I'm very confident about, and this is my second Look at My Holes by James N. Watts. Now, James did release a Look at My Holes version 2 that included shoulder shaping and I think some different increases, just to polish up the pattern a little bit more to their standard. And I meant to knit that one, and then I did not read the instructions properly, and I realized I was supposed to have like a provisional, like, you know, knit the collar after doing the shoulder shaping, but I just cast on the collar and started knitting right away. And I just don't have it in me to rip out even, you know, 10 rows of ribbing. I just couldn't do it. So I was like, okay, version 1 it is. But version 1 is one of my favorite finished pieces anyway. I knit it in black previously, and now we're doing it in this fun kind of linen colorway. This is the exact same yarn that I used last time that I knit Look at My Holes, except in this color, which I do not remember the name of right now. Same needle size and everything, so fingers crossed that it knits up to being the same size, because I didn't gauge swatch this time. I'm just hoping that you know, Grace who knit 1 year ago is similar enough to Grace who knit this year. Yeah, it doesn't look like much because it's on a small needle, but I am very, very close to sleeve separation, and my plan is I want to knit a full-length sleeve this time. I'm going to do a bit of a balloon sleeve, like you just knit straight, and then I'm going to cinch it right in for the cuff, and I want to do a short little cuff, because I think just a little tiny bracelet cuff would be really cute. And then with whatever yarn I have left over, I'm going to knit the body. The first one that I knit, I used 2 skeins exactly. This time I have 4 skeins to play with, so I imagine I'll be able to make it a little longer in the stomach section, and I should be able to do full sleeves, but we're going to see what happens. I make no promises, but I just loved my first look at my holes so much that I am really excited about finishing this one, because I feel like this color will go with a lot, and I think the long sleeve will be a very cute look, and I can get some cute tank tops to wear underneath it for different pops of color, and this will go with every pair of pants that I own. So we are excited for versatility, and we're excited for re-knitting patterns. There's not a lot of patterns that I've knit twice, so big kudos to James and Watts for making a pattern that I am in love with. So those first 2, I'm very confident I'm going to be finishing them very soon. Now we're starting to move into the territory of, I hope I finish it. We'll see. So this is one that I am hoping to have finished for Christmas of 2023. It's going to be my Christmas sweater, because I think it's nice to knit a sweater for the holidays. I did it in 2021. I knit the Diaphanous Raglan by Jessie Mae in a nice dark green, and in 2022 I knit the Slow Beer sweater in Knit Picks Wonder Fluff, which was also just, you know, I really enjoyed both of those sweaters a lot, so I'm hoping this will be the Christmas 2023 sweater, of which I have 1 sleeve done. This is the Honeycomb Aran by Gayle Bunn. I've mentioned it a few times. Even in my very first episode of Sometimes I Make Things, I mentioned wanting to knit a cabled sweater. I didn't end up doing the cabled sweater I mentioned in that video, because I just didn't feel good enough about the size inclusivity of it. You know, it had a range. It just, for a big yarn company making sweater patterns, it could have more range. You know, it wasn't one little independent designer trying their best. It's a corporation. It's a mega corporation. So I was like, okay, if you can't do size inclusivity, then I can't do you. Yeah, so Honeycomb Aran by Gayle Bunn. This one is hosted by Peyton's Your Inspirations. I'm not sure which one is, you know, the Overlord company. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so I have high hopes for this sweater. This is not blocked yet, so I'm hoping that the sleeve will be even larger. So I'm really going for big, cozy winter sweater, hot cup of cocoa vibes. Yeah, so this one I learned how to do cabling without a cable needle, which was a first for me, and I really do enjoy it a lot. It definitely is a challenge, but it is a pattern that I was able to memorize. Once you understand the flow of it, you can just keep knitting. The instructions are not the most clear. Peyton's is not renowned for the clearest patterns, but it's doable. I just had to reformat it a little bit so that it flowed from my brain. Yeah, so I do have the second sleeve cast on. It's just a little nubbin of ribbing right now. So that's one that, you know, there's a lot of work to do, and I got a lot of things on my plate lined up for gift knitting this year. So, you know, I think the odds are kind of low that I will have this done for Christmas, if I'm being honest, just knowing me, given that I have a front, a back, and a whole sleeve still to do. But a gal can hope. Regardless of when this sweater gets done, I think it's going to be a classic in the wardrobe. This is Lion brand Fisherman's Wool that I'm using. There's a tweed to it, I think it's called birch tweed. So I think there's a little bit of nylon in it just to like hold the tweed together. But other than that, it's a real wool sweater that's non-superwash. So it's going to last really well. I think it's going to hold together well. And because it's going to be a seam sweater, I really wanted to make a seam sweater, so this is that sweater. I think structurally it's also going to hold up very well. So this is one where, fingers crossed for Christmas, but it's one that I do want to finish, and I am excited about having in my wardrobe. Hello. You coming to look at my knitting? Are you a good girl? Yes, you are a good girl. I love you. Okay, this next work in progress is a bit of a returning champion. I have shown it, I'm not sure when I showed it, many episodes ago, maybe episode 4, maybe episode 5. And I've made some progress at last. So, this is Sophie's Universe by Dedri. I'm so sorry. I'm not remembering how to pronounce the last name. I started this blanket in 2015. It was a crochet along, and it's what I learned to crochet on. My aunt was making it, and I was obsessed with it. She did hers in purple, black, a little bit of browns, lots of greens. It was gorgeous. It is gorgeous still. And I was like, you know what? I will learn how to crochet to make this blanket. So it took me forever to get started. But I've learned so much along the way making this blanket. It definitely is an ambitious project for a beginner, but there is a YouTube channel called All in a Nutshell, and she has done step-by-step every single row instructional videos on how to crochet this blanket. So if you wanted to do it, you could do it. There's so much resources for this particular pattern, which is a free pattern out there. So naturally, I did not actually sew in or finish my row, so while this has been hibernating, it's been hemorrhaging a few stitches, so oops. But I basically picked up and crocheted from that brown line behind the light pink flowers up to here, which was about 9 rows, which, considering I started this blanket in 2015 and it was in deep hibernation by 2018, that's phenomenal progress. Amazing. She's added 2 inches. And yeah, this one I don't know if it's going to be finished at the end of 2023, but it is back on my radar officially. I remembered how fun it is to work on. And I feel like my new official goal is to have it done by 2025. So I can hopefully say that I finished the blanket in less than 10 years, but it'll be what it'll be. This is Peyton's Canadiana yarn, which I'm not sure if they're still making in the colors that I originally purchased. So my basic plan with this blanket, and I've made peace with this, is I'm just going to crochet until I run out of yarn. If I'm in a point where it makes sense for me to pick up a new color, like there's a border section that has a lot, like it's pretty thick one color border section of butterflies on this blanket, I might pick up more yarn to do that, but basically I just want to use what I purchased for this project, and when I've used that up, I'll be like, okay, it's done. If we don't make it to part 15, that's okay. It doesn't have to make it all the way. I just want to complete what I spent money on, and it's already to a point where it covers my legs. Like, this would be a lovely couch TV blanket as is. But yeah, if I can get it done, you know, if I could get it back to being a square, I feel like then I'd be happy at that point, because it's still a bit of an octagonal situation over here. But this is a good time, and I have croche-fluenced a friend of mine, Mel, to start making this as well. So I am excited for the both of us to have twinning blankets. We're now officially moving into the territory of, oh, there's no way this is getting done in 2023 for our works in progress. This number here, I started in the spring. I had a lot of plans to do a bunch of summer top knitting this year after finishing the Helix Halter, and I really enjoyed making it, and I was feeling so inspired that I was like, okay, I'm going to cast on some more tops, and I'm going to try to make like 3 summer tops this year. 3. So I cast on this one first, which I'm still trying to untangle because it's been hibernating for so long that it is a mess. Yeah, I started this one because it was going to be the most work, so I was like, okay, let's start with the hardest one first, and I get that one done, and then I can coast through the rest of the summer with my simple, easy ones. And that has not worked out in my favor at all. So what we have here, it's basically a bikini right now, oh my goodness, is the Olive Top by Pernille Larson, which I have, let's see here, let's try this again. The Olive Top, woo! So the Olive Top is one that I've been eyeing for quite a while to make. It's this beautiful leaf pattern made out of, I don't even think I can really call it cabling. Like, I think it's really just pass slip stitch over, yarn over situation. I can't even remember the pattern. I used to have this memorized. It's gone from my brain. That's how long it's been since I touched it. I was definitely working on this in late April and early May because my mom and my aunt and I got together and we watched the coronation of King Charles while I was working on this. So I'm always going to have that memory linked of eating scones and having tea and spending time with my mom and my aunt in the early hours of the morning working on this. So that's a precious memory in that regard. This is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Sunflower, which is a great yarn for, you know, summer tops. But it definitely is a thin yarn, and it wasn't my favorite just to work with. Like, I'm excited about the fabric that it makes, but not so excited about actually making fabric with it. I'm also knitting this on 2.75mm needles, which is kind of garbage to knit a whole top on. Not gonna lie, it's good for ribbing, it's okay for socks, but to knit a top, so kind of set myself up for failure with that one. But I do hope to have this one done for summer 2024. It's just, this one's going in hibernation. It's just a fact. It done been hibernating, but it's not coming out anytime soon. So I think maybe when we get to February 2023 and I'm thinking about the summer, I'm probably going to pull this out and start working on it again, and fingers crossed it's done for summer 2024. But it's just, it's not the time, it's not the place. We like it, we respect it, but it's just not happening right now. For this pattern, I have some mixed feelings about whether or not I would recommend it. I think it's a beautiful pattern. So I think that if you're like, oh, I'm in love with this stitch pattern as well, and I think this would be a great part of my wardrobe, then go for it. But I'm not necessarily in love with the way the pattern's written out or the way that it was presented, which feels like a really, I don't know, a small, like, an unimportant thing to, oh no, an unimportant thing to complain about. And not really complain, but it was just like a PDF, you know, there wasn't a lot of like nice layout or presentation of the pattern. It's just like, here you go, toots. And it is a translated pattern, to be fair, as well, so I think maybe some things just didn't click as well for me. Maybe you have no issue with it, but definitely after getting this pattern, I kind of had the feeling of, I don't think I'll buy another pattern from this designer unless I just can't resist at all having a pattern of theirs, which, gorgeous patterns, Knitting for Olive, they're all beautiful, but just, yeah, I don't know if I necessarily have the will buy again feeling from this pattern itself. That being said, I'm still happy about making this, and I am looking forward to having it finished and wearing it up, hopefully, in summer 2024. I don't even think I'm going to put this away nicely. I'm just going to jam it back in the bag because we're at the I can't even point. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But as you can see, we're getting lower and lower on the confidence level of these whips. The last whip that I have to share is Shoop, the African Flower Sheep by Heidi Bears. This is a pattern that when I saw it, I thought, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to make this happen. And I've kind of hit a bit of a roadblock with it. One, not a big granny square crochet person in the first place. This is kind of the first granny square type thing that I'm doing. I mean, I guess maybe you could think of Sophie's Universe as one ginormous granny square. But anyway, this is what I've got so far. So this is being made in Bernat baby blanket yarn with some sparkle to it. There are some holes and stuff in it. We're crossing our fingers that that holds out okay. But yeah, I was inspired when I went to the Fergus Fiber Festival. I got some safety eyes, which I will show you the company's flyer and some of the images of their eyes that they make. And I got these beautiful rainbow pinwheel eyes, and I was really inspired to make a big fluffy white sheep with these rainbow eyes, as kind of like a bed pillow almost, or like to go on a future apartment couch. I thought it'd be really fun and quirky. So I got everything for it, and I've been making it, excited, hyped, and then I realized that the safety eyes that I got seemed really large, obviously 20 millimeters, but when I compare it to this, 20 millimeters ain't nothing. It would have like eyes this big, and I realized that the eyes would look creepy. So I'm not going to be able to use the rainbow eyes on it, which was what kind of originally inspired me, as I saw these rainbow eyes and I was like, okay, like I want to make Shoop the Sheep with these. So now I'm at a bit of an impasse of, do I finish this and maybe make some needle felted eyes, like big cute anime eyes, and stick that on the sheep? Or do I start looking for like massive safety eyes to give it like cute big doe-eyed sheep look? Or do I scrap this, frog it, and remake it in fingering weight yarn, which the pattern is designed for fingering weight yarn, to be fair. I think if fingering weight yarn it would be about this big, and with my bulky yarn I think it's going to be about this big. So yeah, I might do it in like a cotton yarn and make it like a little black sheep, but then have colorful hexagonal flowers on it. I don't know. I am struggling with what the best thing to do is for this particular pattern. So this one's kind of at the hibernating stage, bit of an impasse of, okay, well I bought the yarn to make it and it's gonna be really cute, but also I don't know how to finish it nicely, and maybe this way would be better, and do I really want to make two of them? But two of them would be so different. I don't know. I got a lot of things on my plate, so Shoop the Sheep has sadly slipped down to the bottom. But this is one I'm hoping to get done eventually. Either way, I think it's going to be a cool project. I don't even know if I'm like halfway through making these. They don't take too long to make, but yeah, I don't know if I have it in me to frog them, but also making them all, sewing them all together, stuffing it all, is a lot of work as well. So I'm at that point of like, ooh. So stay tuned for updates on Shoop the Sheep, but that might be a 2025, December 2024 situation. I don't know. But that is something that I have started in the meantime, so I figured it'd be worth mentioning. On the not knitting or crochet front, I do have one more work in progress that I'm pretty excited to share, and I hinted at it at the beginning of this video, but it is my hand spinning. So Tour de Fleece happens at the same time as Tour de France, and I thought that was a good time as any to finally get this spindle going. I got this spindle at Kawartha Yarn and Fiber Fest last year. The spindle is from Three Dog Knit. It is 3D printed by her son, and then I think she assembles it, but they did a joint effort to design it. And the yarn is from Little Laurel Fiber, who's another member of my Knit Night group, and it's been a real treat. I considered filming the process of me learning how to spin, because I started from nothing, and I'm glad I didn't, because it's been a long time since I've started like a new craft. Like obviously knitting and crochet are very different from each other, but I learned those more than 15 years ago, and there's elements of it that you can use to help learn, like how to hold yarn, and just understanding stitches can help. Whereas I haven't done anything like spinning before, so it was a good brain exercise for sure. And yeah, I'm not really sure what else to tell you guys. It's spinning. Jillian Eve on YouTube was helpful for demonstrations as we're just looking up. I went on Instagram and I just searched for hand spinning, drop spindle, reels essentially, and just spent time watching people do it. and just trying to get that to percolate into my brain, and then just a lot of practice. For me, spinning is something that I can't sit for like an hour straight and do it. Maybe even 20 minutes is a bit of a stretch. Like, it's definitely something where I do a couple feet, maybe a meter or two of spinning, and then I put it down. So it has been a slow burn for me, but it's been so satisfying. Look at my cob. I did this. Let's see. I've got a pocket full of fiber. Let's see here. This is how much I have left of my braid. So we're getting there. I am very excited for finishing this and plying it. And my plan is I want to make this into a 2-ply hank, and I'm going to put it in like a shadow box or something to hang on the wall, because it's obviously going to come out pretty weird and ugly looking. I cannot speak for what the middle of this cob looks like. I'm feeling like I'm getting pretty consistent now towards the outer edge, but it's a first time spin. And I kind of just want to keep it to look back on, because I imagine spinning is something I'm going to keep doing. I'm really enjoying it. It's so, like, it almost feels like a spiritual thing to do. It's a whole body experience. I'm over here pulling the yarn up like this into the sky, like I'm reaching for the heavens or something, and every single inch just looks a little different. It's so, just anything can happen with it. Like, I feel like with knitting and crocheting to an extent, I put my hook or needle in, I do my magic, and it comes out the same, and it's pretty consistent. Spinning, no consistency. You could have a lot of spin here, you could have zero spin here. I don't understand it. So it just feels so like life. You just don't know what's gonna happen next. Sometimes it works out great, sometimes it's overdone. And yeah, it just feels like magic. Like, I'm really just enthralled with it. And yeah, it just seems like something that you can spend a lot of time perfecting and learning nuance about it. So I'm looking forward to more of my spinning journey. And yeah, my friend, so many cars in my neck of the woods. What is this? The weekend? My friend Karine, they have a spinning business, actually, Les Cocottes de Bois, that they started recently. But Karine did a Fiber Imp advent calendar, and it came out so amazing, and Karine learned so much in the process of doing that, that I was very excited to share it with her. But she just laughed so much at my massive cob, and them pointing it out to me has made me be like, oh yeah, it says that there's a lot. But I only have this much fiber left. Like, it's all going on there. Shout out to Three Dog Knit for making a spindle that can handle what I throw at it as a beginner, because I still feel like it moves great. Like, obviously it's top heavy as I'm doing this, but it's got good spin to it. It can handle it, I think, and yeah, this has been a great spindle to learn on, in my opinion. I'm not sure when I'll start buying more spindles. I think I'm just going to keep using this one for now until I fall in love with some beautiful little wooden spindle. But I'm super happy with this and the experience, and I'm glad that I started something new, even if it made me feel very unsmart in the beginning and useless. I now feel like I am capable of making yarn. I brought you up close and personal for this part, because it's time for me to show you all the yarn that I bought, that I said I wouldn't buy, but I did buy, and now you need to see it in all its beauty, up close and personal. Earlier this summer, I went to the Fergus Fiber Festival with my dear friend Emily. We made a whole weekend of it, which was very fun, and I've got a few things to show from that. It was my first time going to Fergus Fiber Festival. Actually, this might have been their second year running, I think. And it's a phenomenal festival. It's done out on the main street of Fergus, so the whole midsection is all just different booths of yarn and sheep things and bags and felting and spinning, etc. And then on either side of you are all the small businesses in Fergus. So you've got bookstores, you've got vintage stores, you have gift shops, there's a yarn store as well. It's honestly, it's so integrative. Emily went into one of the shops and bought a nice candle. It was Lily of the Valley scented, I think, and it was gorgeous. So it's honestly a fantastic festival. I can't toot the horn of Fergus Fiber Festival enough. And while there, I got a few beauties. First here we have Sunrise at the Pond by Many Hues Fiber Arts. This is by Jessica, who is another lady in my Knit Night group. We're a whole gang. I first saw this colorway at the Hamilton Fiber Festival in this spring. I went with my cousin, and I saw this colorway and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so stunning. I want to get it, but I didn't end up buying anything that day. I was trying to stick to my don't buy yarn situation at that point in the year. But this yarn had stayed on my mind the whole time. I love the blend of the green speckle, the beautiful pinks, that vibrant orange, and when I saw it this time, I was like, okay, now's my chance. I still want this yarn. I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna support my Knit Night friend. So I'm not sure what this will become. I do like the idea of making a lovely pair of simple socks out of it and just letting the yarn shine, but you know, it might become some sort of neck thing or body thing or something. I don't know. I just think this is such a beautiful yarn, and I think whatever project I make with it is going to be a real treat. So thank you, Jessica and company, for making this lovely, lovely skein that I smile every time I look at it. It's so beautiful, and Sunrise at the Pond is just such a romantic, beautiful, soothing name. So we're very excited about this one. I also shopped a dyer new to me, who I think is also affiliated with our Knit Night group now. Just Telly's Yarn. This is the colorway Pinata on her sport base. And as you can see, I've already caked it up because I'm planning on making something with this in the near future. I am hoping to make a very 2010s hipster chic kind of hat with it. I think I have a pattern picked out. I'm not 100% on it yet though, so I will keep you posted on that. But you know, I want something slouchy with some eyelets and maybe a lacy feel to it. Just something you would see in a music video of a sad indie folk song, but you know, a vibrant one. You know, the I'm Not Like Other Girls hat. That's what we're trying to do with this. So yeah, updates to come on this one, but I'm hoping that this will be my early fall hat. You know, because sport weight is not going to be an overly thick hat, like it'll keep the chill off of you, but you know, this is not a Canadian winter hat. So we'll see, but I'm thrilled about this one. I love the combination of colors. It's so gorgeous, and I think every stitch with this yarn is going to be a true treat to knit with. So, Pinata! Finally, at Fergus Fiber Festival, I popped into the aforementioned yarn store that's on the main street of Fergus. Name I shall put here because I'm currently blanking on it. But it is this lovely Luxor mercerized cotton yarn. I got 3 skeins of this, as you can see, for $7 instead of $14. We love our 50% off yarn. And this color, I think it'll look nice with my hair. It's a little different than my hair, but similar enough that I think it'll have a nice, earthy, natural look to it. Same with cotton in general. It's going to be a great summer yarn. I'm really excited for this with, you know, a pair of blue jeans. So, not sure yet what I'm going to make with it. I think something with texture, though, just because it is a one-tone yarn. There's no variegation to it whatsoever. There's no tonals to it. It's just solid. So I think something with maybe some pearl bumps thrown in there for texture, some eyelets, whatever, we'll see. But yeah, I think with this one I'm going to let the pattern shine through. And I think it'll be a fantastic hard-wearing, I don't know if hard-wearing is the right way to put it, but the feel of this yarn is one that I think it's going to last quite a while. So I think that'll be a good classic top yarn. Next up, we have Random Value Village yarn. So these skeins, they are from Crafts. It's just mini yarns. I'm assuming these must have been sold at a dollar store somewhere. And there is 2 different color packs here. And I also have another loose 10 pack here. There's 2 tiny acrylics skeins that got in there, but other than that, these are all 100% cotton. And I really like the idea of making tiny, cute crochet earrings out of this. Like, I've seen some people do little granny square earrings, and I think those are so cute. And then also like little strawberries or little fruits, little pumpkins, stuff like that. And I just think this is the perfect amigurumi yarn. I like a thin cotton yarn for amigurumi. I like the way it looks. The chenille yarns are also gorgeous, but I love how much detail you can show with the cotton. So yeah, I was like $2 for the equivalent of, I think this is about 350 grams of yarn here. Can't be beat for 100% cotton. So can't comment on what this yarn company is. I'm assuming they were dollar store kids kit kind of yarn. But for making cute little earrings, I'm so excited. So I'm thrilled about these. We will see what happens, but I think that those will make fantastic like palette cleanser projects of like, I'm just gonna make a little strawberry and put it on an earring. Now I'm ready to go do my big scary cabled sweater projects. These next two have a little bit of an air of sad to them because I got them at the closing of a very beloved yarn store, Village Lane Yarn Cafe. It was in Pickering Village, and it was not super local to me, but local enough, and I've shopped there several times. I've had really positive experiences every time I've gone in there, and they were closing their physical store because rent is too damn high. And yeah, unsympathetic landlord, it sounds like, is the moral of the story there. So they will be continuing on as an online store, which is fantastic, of course, but it was just such a beautiful, welcoming space that really emphasized Canadian products, Canadian dyers, Canadian makers, and it had just a great selection, and you could go in there and get a coffee, and you could get a cookie, and they had a sitting area where you could hang out. And yeah, it's just, I feel tragically about it. So my mom and I, we went together to do our final goodbyes at Village Lane. She's gone there as well and purchased from them several times, and she also really loves that store. So had to buy some commemorative products to remember them by. So the first one here that really stood out to me was this Richard DeVries, I believe is the name there, skein. It's called Hiking in the Highlands. And this is not a usual color pairing that I would go for, but it just had such a joy to it, and it really stood out to me. It was like stacked at the front of the store on their front table, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it. So Hiking in the Highlands had to be mine. This one I think most likely is going to be a cute pair of socks. I kind of like the idea of doing Hermione's everyday socks with them again, which is just a knit purl pattern on otherwise simple socks. Hermione's everyday socks is a legendary pattern. It was the first sock pattern that I ever knit, and I think it would be nice to revisit it with a few more years of experience and, you know, a fun pop of yarn like this. So I might swatch it first to see how it'll knit up and then decide from there what I want to make with it. But yeah, I think this will be a special project to me just because it's the last visit of a very beloved place. Also, while visiting Village Lane for the last time, I picked up my next spinning project. As you know, I'm very close to the end of my lovely gray Corriedale from Little Laurel, and now I'm going to try out some merino. So this is from the wonderful Malabrigo. This is their Nube base for spinning. The colorway name is Petrichor, which I believe means love of rain. I could be completely misremembering that, but that's what I think it means. And I just think this is the most fantastic fall color combo. She's so beautiful. We've got pops of green, we've got lovely plum, we have burnt orange, we've got some yellow in there. I think it's going to be so stunning. The gray yarn has been fantastic to work with. I feel like it's been pretty forgiving and it holds to itself pretty well, and there's lovely variations of light gray and dark gray in it, but your girl does love some color. So I'm excited to see how this works up, and then also the added challenge of, I hear people talk about their yarns looking muddy sometimes with spinning, because I guess the way the fibers can pull together, it might create like a muted effect, or, you know, I'm not even going to try to explain myself. I don't know enough about spinning at this point. But I think that'll be the added lesson from this one, is seeing how pulling out the colors works differently. I don't have the vocabulary yet to explain spinning, but I definitely feel like I've been working faster on my gray spin, knowing now that I have this one waiting for me, because I truly cannot wait to crack into this. I think it's going to be just the perfect aesthetic of having a hot cup of tea and spinning on this, and the leaves outside are all orange and yellow and falling to the ground, and pumpkin spice lattes, and I'm just so ready. Okay, we're down to the last two, which I got on my most recent yarn store trip, which was Sauper Creek Yarn, which is in Orono, Ontario. Orono has some lovely antique markets at it, and my boyfriend and I went on a little day trip to go look at the antique market, and of course we had to check out the local yarn store while we were there. It's just what you gotta do. So I got this skein here of Barocco Vintage. I believe the color is called Scotch Pine. I could be mistaken. I lost the label immediately. I do have plans for this, which I'm not going to talk about until further notice, because I don't know who's watching these vlogs, who's a loved one in my life. I know who some of you are, but not all of you. So we're going to keep this one locked down, but just a beautiful skein here, and I'm really looking forward to working with it. I haven't used Barocco Vintage before, but even just when I was taking it up, I was like, oh, this feels like it's going to be a nice workhorse yarn to work with. I could see myself knitting a sweater out of this in the future, because it just seems like it would be a quick, not too expensive, and probably well-wearing product at the end of the day. So I'm excited about Barocco Vintage. I will get back to you on how it goes. This final one was completely on impulse. I saw it on the shelves at Sauper Creek, and I could not take my hands off of it because it's phenomenal. And it is this phenomenal hot pink from Cascade Yarns. This is Cascade Heritage Sock, which I have used a little bit before. I have a dark brown and a dark green of this base, but I just could not get over this hot pink. Like, everything else pales in comparison. You walk into a room and this is all you can see. It also helped that one of the shop ladies was currently knitting with this exact yarn. They're starting a knit along for the Monkey Socks by Cookie A. So I saw it was like an inch knit, and I was like, okay, I have to buy this pink yarn. It knits up so nicely. She let me touch it, which, you know, I completely understand if a knitter doesn't want someone else handling their project. You don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, she let me check it out and feel it, and I was like, this is fantastic. And so I'm planning on making literally exactly copying her project. I'm going to make the Monkey Socks by Cookie A with this base, and I think they're going to be phenomenal. And if there's any leftover sock yarn after finishing, like usually there's some leftover, I'm planning on just slipping this in wherever I can, you know, put a little line of it here, a little line of it here in different projects, because the Barbie movie really influenced me. I mean, if you can't tell by my pink nails. But I'm just really embracing pink right now, and I just think it's so fun. It stands out so much. It is the it girl of the moment, and I'm all for it. Go pink. Go pink. So this one I caked up pretty fast as well, because I'm committed to finishing the Floret socks first. I'm a one sock at a time kind of gal, but as soon as the Floret socks are done, I am casting on this bad boy, and I am so excited about it. Just this is the joy of knitting, is you get your colors, and it's like having paint, and you just create all these beautiful colors around you, and you wrap yourself in them, and you spend time with color, and you think about color, and you think about texture, and you think about how you want to dress and how you want to put yourself out there. And I just love this creative part of just decorating yourself and spending time with color and texture and making things, and yeah. Alright folks, I have no concept of how long I have been out here chatting with you, but I hope that it has come together coherently, even though I'm a little rusty with the podcasting, vlogging front. It's been a while. I hope you enjoyed it though. I hope there's some inspiration hidden in there for you, and if you have any thoughts, comments, please share them below. I love seeing what people have to say. And yeah, I'm hoping that I will be back more regularly. My goal is to do something about once per month, So this is kind of August. We'll see if I can get back to you in September with some updates then about what I've been working on. And yeah, I'm having some optimism. There were some hard parts for me this summer. Those times happen, but I'm feeling the optimism and the excitement coming back, and I'm looking forward to sharing more in the future. Take care, be well, and bye, friends.